Welcome to our webinar, No Tape, No Problems, Simplified Backup and Recovery for IBM Power Systems. My name is Ack Seiner. I'll be your presenter today, Vice President of Solutions for Electronic Storage Corporation, an IBM business partner and Microsoft certified partner. So Electronic Storage Corporation is our company. We are located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been in business for 30 years. We're a software developer, so here at our Tulsa office, we have our own programming staff. We also have our own technical support staff here in Tulsa that assists our customers with any questions or issues regarding our products. And we have several different products, as you see here on the screen. And we're going to talk about our LaserVault backup for iSeries disk-to-disk backup solution to replace tape. So no tape, no problems. We're going to find out today, you'll find out how to reduce the amount of time and effort it takes to manage your IBM i backups. We're going to see how easy it is to back up your iSeries via TCP/IP to a Windows server with disk, NAS, SAN, or deduplication appliance. We're going to understand how to get reliable, secure, automated backups via disk-to-disk. So you're going to have the ability to complete unattended backups without having to load and unload tapes. If you're using a single tape device or multiple tape devices, you're going to be able to completely automate your backup process. Bare metal restores. So with TCP/IP, you actually have a way to perform a save sys, where you're going to be able to save your operating system and licensed internal code, and you'll be able to save that to disk. So if you needed to recover to a new system for disaster recovery purposes, you'd be able to do that, being with the capability of saving that information and those files directly to disk to be used to recover to a new system. So why should you worry about using tape? Well, tapes can be mislabeled, broken, lost, stolen, and or destroyed. Human error, so it happens in tape backups to where this can occur with backups not being completed. If a tape happens to not be changed out for a particular backup, tapes can get misplaced or lost, and always at risk of losing data with dealing with tapes. Gaps in your backup. So if you had an incomplete backup due to manual tape process, tape malfunction, tape drive malfunction, things like this can things that you can worry about when dealing with tape. Valuable IT time is used up talking, reviewing, worry about the viability of your data protection, including where really with tape backup, you just have one copy of your backup. We're going to talk about how you can make multiple copies of your backups, where you can store backups off-site, you can store backups to cloud. And these are copies of backups, so you have the ability to really protect that data with two copies of your backups, whereas with tape, you just have one copy. So any inconvenience or loss of data due to the system being down, doing issues with the backup, where if you had missed a backup or a backup tape was lost and that data is no longer recoverable to the system, and that can cause some inconveniences with customers, with data, transaction, things like that on your iSeries. Business reputation can suffer. So when you tell your customers that the data has been lost, it can't be recovered, that can be a problem. Tape media degrades. So over time, you're going to have inability to retrieve data based on how many times you've used a tape, how old the tape is. So tapes are constantly having to be replaced, the older tapes with newer tapes. So this is just an added cost and also something that has to be spent time keeping track of in terms of which tapes need to be replaced because of age and how many times that they've been used. So if you require, especially if you're requiring long retention periods for any data such as monthly backups, annual backups, this is where you can store those to disk, rated disk for extra protection, and also storing multiple copies so that you have a copy to recover from in case you need to do that. Uninspected or unnecessary costs would include business continuity due to loss of data, facility costs, labor costs, lost customers. purchasing new or replacement tape drives. So if you're looking to purchase a new tape device, maybe you're looking to update your iSeries to a Power 9 system, you could look at a disk-to-disk backup solution instead of replacing your existing tape drive, where you wouldn't have to deal with tapes anymore. And that would be a cost of the new iSeries that you could eliminate by not having to purchase a new tape device. So downtime, if your system is unable to be accessed during a backup because the backup ran over because there were issues with the tape or the tape drive, those types of things can be eliminated with a disk-to-disk backup solution. And other things, earthquakes, fire, these disasters, cybercrime, these disasters can happen. And if your tape is all vulnerable to any of these natural disasters, or your system is, being able to copy your backups to an offsite location or to secured cloud storage means that your data is protected because it is offsite and out of danger from any of these natural type disasters. And they do happen. With iSeries backups, they can be made really easy by using your existing TCP/IP network. So in the case of the iSeries side, that means no hardware is required, no additional hardware is required for your backups to connect up to disk and use disk as your backup instead of tape. This particular solution comes with its own iSeries backup commands. You can see those listed there, like save lib lv, save object. Those are all commands that are very similar to commands that are used with tape, but it's using TCP/IP to run a backup. So your iSeries currently connected to your network via 1 gig TCP/IP, 1 gig Ethernet. With LaserVault also being connected to that network, you're going to be able to run any of these save commands and restore commands directly from the iSeries to save and restore data that's been saved to disk. So here's a simple diagram to connect through either standard 1 gig Ethernet or 10 gig Ethernet, where that connection through TCP/IP using specific ports that LaserVault backup is listening on, you'll be able to use that TCP/IP connection to the LaserVault server from the iSeries to actually perform your backups. And those are simple to configure. I can show you that in a moment here on the iSeries. Also having multiple ports, as you see here, you can do multi-thread backups. So you can assign a save of libraries to up to 10 individual ports. So it's going to be sending 10 libraries at the same time for one single backup. So it's a multi-thread process. It's going to help increase the speed and performance of your backups to disk from the iSeries, especially if you're using a 1 gig Ethernet connection. This allows you to maximize the bandwidth of that connection via TCP/IP. So you're going to be able to use the save commands to the server without using save files. So there's no extra step of saving to a save file first and then saving to a LaserVault. You simply just use the commands and it saves directly to disk on the LaserVault server without having to create save files of your backups. The LaserVault backup software runs on a Windows server, a Windows PC, or Windows Virtual. Install a library on the iSeries, so all the commands that we've talked about, where you have save live, save object, those commands are in the LaserVault library that's installed on the iSeries. It's about 2 meg of commands that are installed on the system to perform backups and restores. Deduplication, replication, cloud. These are all ways that you can compress your data, replicate your data to alternate sites, disaster recovery site, cloud, things like that. So let's take a look at LaserVault. So first I'm going to show you the LaserVault backup menu. So this menu is going to show you all the save commands, the save libraries, objects, changed objects, so you can do only those objects that have been changed since the last save, your documents and folders, which would be your DLO, IFS backup, security data, which would be your user profiles, and your configuration data, which would be all your device drivers, things like that for those saves can be done with any of those save commands. Let's look at save libraries. So this is save lib lv. F4, I'm going to prompt this to show you that you can choose either a library name or multiple libraries in the save, or you can select all user, star IBM, or star non-sys. Star non-sys is all user and IBM combined into one save. Or you can simply list a set of libraries that you would like to save on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and just list those libraries here. Also, you have save while active. So you hear your save while active parameters, save access paths, spool file data. You can select to save spool file data. Objects to omit, libraries to omit, those are all listed here. So this is very similar to save lib to tape. This is where you enter the TCP/IP ports that you want to use for the backup. And again, you can list up to 10. Here I'm going to list 5. So this is 5 ports that I want to use for this backup. So and this is a multi-thread backup because it's going to use 5 TCP/IP ports at the same time. So up to 5 libraries will be saving at the same time to disk to the LaserVault server. And again, you can use up to 10 of these in one save, and that would mean you would bump up the number of saves that you're doing, or number of threads that you're doing, to 10 threads. Number 10 is work with your IP configurations. So this is where you're defining the server number, the IP address of the system that's running the LaserVault backup software, the TCP/IP port, which defaults the first port at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and increments by 1 from there, and also the number of days that you'd like to store the backups using this port. So you could define 5 of these .77s with ports 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can specify 30 days. You can specify the same port again with the same IP address, and you can specify a different expiration. So it could be a port that you use for monthly backups that you want to store for a longer period of time. So this is one that's set to up to 120 days. If you have if you have all zeros for the number of days of expire, that means that they're permanent and they will not be deleted. And so with these expiration, you can set it to automatically delete those saves that become expired after the days that they're set in these parameters. So this is where you go in and set up your ports. A standard license comes with 5 ports. We can even do a system with a license with just one single port if your data set is pretty small. But any data sets around a terabyte or below would be good to use up to 5 ports at one time for a backup, and maybe even 10 ports. Also, the restore process is very simple because the LaserVault system stores everything in a catalog. So everything that's saved, a listing of the libraries, the objects, the IFS directories, all of that is stored in a database on the LaserVault server. And that gives you the ability to retrieve a list of everything that's saved so that you can select items to restore. So the first thing I'm going to show you is number 11, work with volumes. So I'm going to put in the server number that's associated where my backups are being saved, in this case 100. You can query which type of saves that you want to look at, whether it's all the saves or just the IFS or just the libraries or anything that was saved with save object LV or security data. So this allows you to drill down and get a list of any of these types of saves that you want to view. You can, if you're looking for a particular library, you can type in the name of that library here, and it would show you a list of all the times that that library is saved on LaserVault, and then you could select any of those versions of that library to restore. I'll show you that in a minute. There's a date range parameters where you can get a list of backups based on the library or all user. That'll give you the ability to just select, those saves that were within a particular date range. And you can also sort the catalog list by date, label, type, system, and text. And you can sort that list by ascending or descending. So I'll press enter here, and this is going to retrieve a list of everything that's been saved. You have the label, the save text, which command was used to save, whether it was save object or save library, and also the date and time that library was saved, and also IFS, DLO. I believe there's config data in here as well. So this is a list of everything that's been saved. I didn't choose a date range or a particular library. So this is basically giving me everything that I've saved, the dates and times in which those libraries were saved or objects. Now it's really easy to restore a library or even multiple libraries. I'm just going to take a 10, and you can take a 10 next to any libraries that you want to restore, and you can select those to restore. If you want to just restore one library, you can take a 10. This is takes you to the Restore Lib LV screen, so that you can, whatever library you've selected, you can save it to a different library by putting in the name of the library here, so you can restore a library to a different library. And again, this restore command is very similar to the restore command when you're using tape. You have all the same typical parameter options that allow you to do a restore similar to the way you do a restore using Restore Lib from a tape. If you want, you can take a 5 next to the library, and that will show you all the objects that are in that library. You can take a 10 next to any of the objects to restore, and this will take you to Restore Object LV. So from the list of libraries, you can drill down to the objects and do a 10 next to any object you want to restore. You also have the ability to restore those objects to a different library. So star save lib would restore the objects to the library that they were saved from, or if you put a name of the library in here, it would save those objects to a different library. So the fact that you have a listing of everything gives you the ability to select only the items that you need. You'll have everything there. It's all stored on disk, and never had to go and retrieve a tape to perform a restore. So wherever your tapes are located now, whether they're in a vault or even more inconveniently stored off-site, those tapes need to be retrieved. At times you need to possibly do a restore where that doesn't have to occur. You can do everything online from your iSeries screen, and you have a catalog of everything that you need to save that you can search on and select those items to be restored. So it's really everything you can do directly from your desk without having to go and retrieve a tape and load a tape. You can even take a look at if there's any members of the group. There's an option 5 to take a look at any members of that group that you'd like to restore, or members of that object. There's another way to retrieve the catalog, and that's number 12, work with groups. This is nice because this gives you the ability to create a group for a backup. So these are all my daily backups. You could also have here a group called weekly backups, a group called monthly backups, and you can either take and restore the whole group, or you can take a 5 to view the group, and that shows you everything that was saved in that group. So this is just another way to catalog your backups with LaserVault, to easily go and audit your backups. If you need to audit those backups, you can see all of those groups that have been saved and the dates and times they were saved. Open the group and you can see everything that was saved within that group. And you can have, again, daily, weekly, monthly groups, quarterly groups, annual groups. Those can all be set up here to where they're listed in this work with groups command. So it's really simple to use to LaserVault and connect to it because it's just through TCP/IP, and it keeps track of everything that you saved so you can easily go and restore. Now let's take a look at the LaserVault side on the Windows environment. So a lot of different options here. First, you have a catalog, and I have two catalogs here. So if you have a system with two partitions or multiple partitions, each partition can have actually its own catalog and its own path in which the backups are being stored. One thing important that's note here is that the catalog path can point to a SAN, NAS, deduplication appliance, any type of storage that's accessible on your network. That path can be set to that storage so that it writes the backups directly to that storage. So you don't have to have a Windows server with storage. You don't even have to have a Windows server at all. You could just have a virtual Windows instance that's running on one of your virtual servers that has LaserVault installed, and then you set your path on where you want to store your backups. The software has compression, which averages 5 to 1. It also has encryption, so it can write the backups encrypted, so you can store those encrypted. You can set the encryption compression to run during the backup, immediately after the backup, or as a scheduled task. Replication, you can configure replication to where, number one, you can replicate the Microsoft SQL database in which the catalog is stored, and you can also replicate the data itself. So this allows you to replicate both the catalog, which the catalog can actually be rebuilt anytime. So if something were to happen to the database catalog, because the data still exists, we can actually rebuild the catalog anytime that you would need it. But this gives you the ability to replicate the SQL database, which contains the catalog listing of all the files, and then the files themselves, and replicate those. And those could be replicated to Amazon S3 cloud storage. They could be replicated to storage that's off-site, whatever that you'd like to set up in terms of being able to copy those backups from this location to an off-site or cloud disk storage so that you have two copies of the backups. There's also notifications via email. These are really nice because they give you a summary or a list of everything that's been saved. It'll show you if there were any objects that were not saved during the backup process. One thing to note when backing up with TCP/IP is that your system cannot be in restricted state, although you can end several subsystems if you'd like. To reduce the number of backups or reduce the number of objects that don't get saved because they have an object lock on them. But typically it's very few, maybe one or two objects mostly that I've seen that didn't get backed up, and any IFS logs that are used by the system usually don't get backed up as well. But those are all things that are okay to not get saved in the IFS. So in the cases where even if the system is active, you're going to get 99% of your data backed up to LaserVault. And the email notifications will show you a list of everything via email that has been saved. Makes it very convenient to see and go back and audit anytime to those emails. And plus there's the same thing that your email is also stored in a path where you can see those logs, those backup logs. And disk space notification, there's also an email notification. If you're getting low on disk space, you can put in the amount of megabytes that you want to be notified when the disk reaches a certain size, that you want to be notified that you're getting low on disk space. Then here are, for any of the catalogs, they can be using any of these ports. So partition 1, I've got it set to use these ports here. Partition 2 are set to use these ports. And so again, multiple partitions for your system. You can easily set up a catalog and ports that can be used by those catalogs easily with this interface, where the catalogs and the backups are stored for those partitions in two different paths. And you'll still be able to see your backups from one partition to another. So you can restore from one partition to the other because you can connect. You can do your work vol or work group and check out a list of the backups from partition 1 that you want to restore from partition 2. So this port is set up on the iSeries so that you can access this port, which accesses this catalog, to retrieve these backups. So you can easily go to partition 2, look at the backups that are stored from partition 1, and restore from partition 1 to partition 2. So it makes it really simple to retrieve backups from one system to another. You can also retrieve your catalog from the Windows side. So this lets you go in and, oh, there's nothing stored in that one. Let's go to this one. So this shows you everything that's been saved. You can click on any of these and it'll show you the objects that are stored. It will show you the size of uncompressed and compressed size of those libraries. Also shows you the expiration date, if they have set an expiration date on them. And you can set the software to where it automatically deletes expired saves. And again, those expirations are set on the iSeries, where you can specify the number of days you want to store backups. Shows you compression ratio if you're using compression. Shows you if any of the libraries are encrypted, have been transferred and replicated. So it gives you a lot of information here on your backups for your different libraries and objects easily from this catalog as well. So that's LaserVault Backup. It's extremely simple to set up. We actually have a free trial of this product. Let's go to. So again, we talked about installing on Windows application. It's a Windows application for a server or a PC or virtual. This is a testimonial about getting data to a DR site without having to transport tapes. So the transporting of tapes takes time, costs money. This is an automated process because you're dealing with files on disk that you can easily replicate to a DR site without having to transport tapes. And also, with the replication, you get multiple copies of your backup. So your data is protected, double protection with your data because you have 2 copies of it. With tape, you don't have that. So we do offer a free trial. This is a free trial. You can do up to a 30-day free trial of the product. We can help you install it, get you set up. We've got some sample CO programs that you can do to run your backups automatically for you. So typically what we would do is help you set it up. You'd be able to run your first backup that night to LaserVault and give it a try, see how you like it, test out some restores, and see how you like the ease of use, because it really is simple to use, to automate your process and also to do restores. It's a very simple process. Before I do this, let me show you one other thing. The product also has a save sys LV command. Let's do this. So the product has the ability to do a save of your operating system to disk. The first thing you do is you set this catalog configuration. So what the iSeries has the capability of doing that we're interfacing with is the ability to save the OS and the licensed internal code to the IFS into 2 image catalog files that would be no larger than ISO files that are being copied to DVD. So once you complete this process of setting up the 2 catalog files in the IFS, when you run save sys LV, it'll put the system in restricted state, save the operating system and licensed internal code to the IFS, and then those ISO files can be sent to LaserVault and stored on disk. If you ever needed those to do a bare metal restore, you could burn those 2 ISO files to DVD, load those in the new iSeries box, and you'd be able to start recovering your OS and your licensed internal code, as well as any libraries. Like if you saved LaserVault to it, to one of the ISO files, QGPL, QUserSys, save those libraries to the second ISO file, so you have 2 DVDs, and then you'd be able to connect to LaserVault and restore the rest of your data, all your user libraries, things like that. So this does allow you to do a full system, operating system, and licensed internal code save. So questions, quotes, custom online demo. If you want to contact us, you can contact us at info@laservault.com or extension 1001 at that 800 number. Definitely, if you have some questions, be sure and give us an email. If you'd like a quote on the licensing of the software, we can quote that to you, as well as a custom online demo. You can download the LaserVault backup specifications from the GoToWebinar panel. Looks like we have a question. Yes, save while active. Let's talk about save while active. So you have the option in the save library and the save object, as well as the others. So any of the save commands, right here you have your save while active. So you have the option on save while active: star no, star live, star sync live, star system definition, if that's defined in your system. So you can you can use any of those 4 parameters in the save while active. You can set your save while active wait, second time, and message queue for any save while active message queues. So you have the save while active there. Save while active is also in save objects, as well as save access paths, spool file data, queue data, IFS also has save while active. So this is your IFS save. So yes, and I would say that in most cases people will do a save while active with LaserVault, because the system is active. It needs to be remaining active because it's backing up through TCP/IP. So it does need to be, TCP/IP does need to be running while the backups are being performed. Okay, so this product here would not work with BRMS. We have a different product that would. We have a VTL solution, virtual tape library, that works with BRMS just like a physical tape library. It's called LaserVault Vital, and we can definitely demo that to you if you're interested. We can demo that tape library solution with you, and that works directly with BRMS using a virtual tape library that emulates a physical tape library with BRMS. This solution has its own save commands. It also has its own database for storing the listing of the files that are saved. Now with the VTL solution, that requires a fiber channel or SAS connection from the iSeries to the system that's running the VTL, just like you would connect an external tape library or tape device. But we do have something that works great with BRMS, and that is our virtual tape library solution, LaserVault Vital. Yeah, and we can go over how LaserVault Vital works in BRMS with you in a demo if you'd like. Okay. All right, so custom online demo. We also have a tape emulation product called UBD. Emulates a tape device. So we have 2 emulation solutions. We have the VTL and also tape emulation, as well as LaserVault Backup, which does backups through TCP/IP. I would say that if you're using BRMS, you could take a look at our VTL solution. If you're looking to do full system saves like you're doing to tape, like option 21, you could look at our UBD or VTL solution, which emulate tape that allow you to do full system saves in restricted state. But if you're looking for, your basic daily saves of your libraries, your objects, IFS, those types of things on a daily and weekly basis, and you want to do it through TCP/IP without adding a fiber channel or a SAS card to your iSeries, this is a really simple solution. And also, if you're doing about under a terabyte of data, on your backups. If you're doing over that, you might want to look at a higher speed backup like the UBD or VTL solution that uses fiber channel or SAS, which would be 6 or 8 or 16 gig connection, which gives you a high speed connection for faster backups compared to tape. So I want to thank you for your time, and doesn't look like there's any other questions. So we'll go ahead and stop here. We're going to go ahead and do a drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card. So if you're look for an email that you've been announced as the winner of the $100 Amazon gift card, and download the LaserVault backup technical specifications if you want to take a look at that. And please get in contact with us if you'd like to see a demo. We'd love to go over your iSeries backup requirements, how much data you need to back up, how many partitions, how you're currently doing your backup process, to see what fits best in your particular backup environment where you can get rid of tape and go to disk. Thanks everybody for your time, and have a great afternoon.